Respected special guest, Our Excellency, the guest speaker, today's chair of the session, Chairman BISS, respected Director General of BISS, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies, BISS, may I welcome you all to today's lecture on Bangladesh-Malaysia relations moving towards prosperity as part of our country lecture series CLS 2024. We're delighted to have the presence of Ambassador M. Riyaz Hamidullah, Additional Foreign Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, as the special guest of today's program. We're very much honored to have amongst us Her Excellency Hasna Mohammed Hashim, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Bangladesh, as the guest speaker of today's program. Distinguished guests, in today's program at the outset, Major General Iftekhar Anis, BSP, Director General BISS, will deliver his welcome address. This will be followed by the keynote presentation by Her Excellency Hasna Mohammed Hashim, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Bangladesh. Then the floor will be open for open discussion. Dear audience, you can take part in the open discussion session. You have to write down your name and submit it to our representatives if you would like to participate in the open discussion session. Following the open discussion session, today's special guest will make his insightful remarks. Finally, today's chair of the session, Ambassador AFM Gausul Azam Sarkar, Chairman BISS, will make the concluding remarks, followed by an exchange of memento, photo session, and lunch. May I now request the chair of the session to kindly commence the program. Thank you.
Foreign Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bangladesh, and our special guest today, the Director General BISS, Major General Iftekhar Anis, distinguished discussants, members of diplomatic corps, colleagues, participants, ladies and gentlemen, including media friends. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to you all. As we have got from the master of the ceremony, we are here at a seminar under our country lecture series on the theme Bangladesh-Malaysia relations, moving together towards prosperity. It's indeed an honor for us to have such distinguished of great possibilities and future. Please do not forget that two of our countries, Bangladesh and Malaysia, have amazing similarities and a host of complementarities on which we have started a journey together, diplomatic journey together, and we have a lot to build upon that to realize a great future together. So we are going to have expecting an exciting seminar, and at the beginning of it, I'd request my colleague, Director General BISS, Major General Anis, to make his welcome address.
Ambassador M. Riyaz Hamidullah, Additional Foreign Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Hasna Mohammed Hashim, High Commission of Malaysia to Bangladesh, Ambassador AFM Gausul Azam Sarkar, Chairman of BIISS, learned panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a good morning to you all. On behalf of Bangladesh Institute of International and Strategic Studies, I would like to welcome you all at BIISS Country Lecture Series 2024. We will listen today to a lecture titled Bangladesh-Malaysia Relations Moving Towards Prosperity. As a flagship event, BIISS introduced the Country Lecture Series in 2013. The objectives of this lecture series have been to enhance our knowledge and understanding regarding our partner countries and to explore further scope and potential of the bilateral relationship. This is the maiden session of BIISS Country Lecture Series 2024 after a long gap due to COVID-19. At the outset, let me take this opportunity to express my thanks to Ambassador M. Riyad Hamidullah, who, despite his busy schedule, has graced the lecture as the special guest. I would also like to express my gratitude to Her Excellency Hasna Muhammad Hashim, High Commissioner of Malaysia to Bangladesh, for being here with us today and delivering the lecture. Distinguished guests, Malaysia was one of the first Muslim states to recognize Bangladesh after our War of Liberation. Since then, the two countries have seen a rapid growth of cooperation between them. Being co-members of OIC, Non-Aligned Movement, Commonwealth, the Developing Eight Organization D8, and ASEAN Regional Forum as strong proponents of multilateralism. Bangladesh and Malaysia share a common understanding on major regional and international issues. The state of good relations is reflected in the fast-growing bilateral cooperation spanning across a broad range of sectors, including economic, trade, and investment, employment of Bangladeshi workforce in Malaysia, defense cooperation, education exchange, tourism, culture and sport, technology transfer, and human resource development. Ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia is Bangladesh's largest investment partner from the ASEAN region. In recent years, after India, Bangladesh has become Malaysia's second largest trading partner in South Asia. Despite the pandemic, trade between Malaysia and Bangladesh recorded approximately US $2.6 billion in 2019, up from US $2.4 billion the previous year. In the fiscal year 2023-24, the value of exports to Malaysia announced to US $384 million. In Malaysian market, out of the 8 top products, which secures more than 90% of total exports of Bangladesh to Malaysia, 5 are agricultural and 1 is a leather product. This means if given with proper opportunity, these sectors can also grow to a significant extent and eventually can diversify our export basket. When looked at the regional trade portfolio, it was found that Bangladesh has the highest amount of export with Malaysia compared to other ASEAN member countries. Regarding imports, Bangladesh bought goods worth US $3.46 billion in fiscal year 2022-23, establishing Malaysia as the third most significant import partner following China and India. More importantly, Bangladesh experienced a positive trend in remittances from Malaysia during the fiscal year 2023-24, showcasing a consistent rise in the financial contributions. In fiscal year 2024, around 22% of migrant workers went to Malaysia, which resumed recruiting workers from Bangladesh in August 2022 after a 4-year suspension. Learned audience, though the trade relation with Malaysia is satisfactory, scenario of trade deficit is not. Because of low export of Bangladesh in Malaysian market, the gap, which is constantly increasing, has raised concerns. There are certain reasons for this, one of which is tariff barriers. In 2010, Malaysia consented to grant duty-free access to 19 Bangladeshi export items on the condition that Bangladesh would initiate negotiations on a mutual free trade agreement. Following this, in 2011, the Malaysian government extended a duty-free export facility to 300 Bangladeshi products, including key export commodities such as apparel, as well as handbags, shoes, and some other similar products, which, however, didn't actually reduce the trade gap at a desired level. Another issue here is the uneven market competition. Most of the export competitors of Bangladesh are enjoying preferential treatment under bilateral and multilateral FTAs, including ASEAN-China Framework Agreement and Malaysia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. In addition, Malaysia, with 5 other ASEAN countries, has a free trade agreement as well. This eventually reduces the market competitiveness of Bangladeshi products in Malaysian markets. Apart from this, non-tariff barriers, logistical inefficiencies, supply chain weaknesses, and weak production structure are also pivotal for increasing this trade deficit. Dear participants, I hope today's seminar as a platform for meaningful dialogue, collaboration, and knowledge sharing on the critical issues of Bangladesh-Malaysia cooperation. The comments and suggestions from the distinguished scholars would help the policymakers to formulate the specific policies to enhance bilateral relations among these two countries. In conclusion, I encourage all participants to actively engage in the discussions, exchange insights and ideas, and work towards concrete solutions that will propel Bangladesh-Malaysia relations toward a brighter and more prosperous future. Finally, I once again express my gratitude to our special guests and speakers, along with the learned audience and distinguished panelists, for encouraging us with your kind participation. I wish you all a fruitful deliberations ahead. Thank you. May Allah bless us all.
Thank you, General Anis. Now, I'd like to request our guest of honor and the central speaker of the seminar, High Commissioner Ms. Hasna Muhammad Hashim. Please take the podium.
His Excellency Ambassador Riaz Hamidullah, Additional Foreign Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh, Ambassador AFM Ghazal Azam Saka, Chairman of BISSS, Major General Iftikhar Anis, DG of BISS, members of Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum, good morning and selamat sejahtera in Malay. First and foremost, I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to BISS for extending the invitation for me to deliver this talk today. And it is an honor for me to speak about Malaysia-Bangladesh relations moving towards prosperity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in order to analyze about the dynamic of Malaysia-Bangladesh relations, I'm compelled to introduce to you first about Malaysia's foreign policy, followed by Malaysia's development and trade policies. So allow me first to begin then with Malaysia's foreign policy. Malaysia has been independent for 67 years, and we also experienced several changes in the government political administration. Malaysia continues to pursue an independent, principled, and pragmatic foreign policy founded on the values of peace, humanity, justice, and equality, despite all these changes throughout the years. The overarching thrust of Malaysia's foreign policy is always to safeguard its sovereignty and national interests, as well as to contribute meaningfully towards a just and equitable community of nations through the conduct of effective diplomacy. And in engaging the world, Malaysia's foreign policy is largely influenced and shaped by three key factors, namely its strategic location in Southeast Asia, its attributes as a trading nation, as well as its unique demography. While the foreign policy approaches may have differed over the years due to changing domestic and external factors, the basic principle of the policy have continued since our independence. Policy making have been guided by the criteria of credibility together with consistency and coherency, which have served our best interests. And since 1967, ASEAN has been established. And ASEAN has always been the cornerstone of Malaysia's foreign policy. And the establishment of the ASEAN community in 2015 has significantly elevated Malaysia's approach and engagement in the regional level. Concurrently, strengthening bilateral and multilateral aspect of Malaysia's engagement with the world will continue also to be an important focus. And the nation well-being is founded on the strong and friendly relation with other countries and our commitment to the multilateral system. Now, under the current leadership of Honorable Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim as the Prime Minister in Malaysia, and my Foreign Minister, Honorable Datuk Sri Utama Haji Muhammad bin Haji Hassan, Malaysia continues to promote a forward-looking and pragmatic foreign policy that facilitates trade, attracts foreign investment, as well as projects Malaysia as a stable and peaceful country. And Malaysia also, we are an active member of the United Nations, and we always fully committed to multilateralism in advancing global peace, security, and prosperity. And we have participated in many peacekeeping operations under the umbrella of the UN and also at the international fora. Malaysia continues to actively participate in deliberation and effort towards finding solutions to various global issues. Malaysia always believed in the principles of engagement and cooperation rather than isolation and also unilateral action. And Malaysia believed that growth and success must be shared to those in need. When prosperity is shared, we believe that sustainable growth can be achieved. And we have shared technical cooperation with other developing countries, which include Bangladesh. And it has worked with many other countries through the sharing of our experience and knowledge through various foreign policy mechanisms. This would include Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, NTCP, of which some of you might quite be familiar with, and also other linkages such as the Langkawi International Dialogue, LID, and also bilateral humanitarian assistance as well through public diplomacy program. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as a country with a large Muslim majority, we also give importance to the solidarity of the Ummah. And in this respect, Organization of Islamic Cooperations, OIC, is also important to the Malaysians' foreign policy. And also, just also as we are a developing nation, non-aligned movement is equally important. So that's the Commonwealth, G77, D8, AMET, Asia Middle East Dialogue, and many other organizations, including FILAC, Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA, Asia-Europe Meeting, and also Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC. But in the end, the most important is through this organization, we sought to promote the South-South cooperation among the developing countries and the Muslim world. And we advocate the Prosper by Neighbor policy to enhance economic relation and cooperation with our neighboring countries, that is Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, that is BIM-YAGA, and also we have Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand Growth Triangle, IMTGT, and also many other entities. And in responding to the complexity in global affairs and expanding international relations, Malaysia's conduct will continue to be guided by the principle of respect for independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-interference in the affairs of other nations, peaceful settlement of dispute, peaceful coexistence, and mutual benefits in relation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let us move to the second policy, which is Malaysia's development policy. And on this, the common goal for every nation is how it continues to develop. And for Malaysia, as an upper middle income nation, Malaysia must prepare ourselves to get out of the middle income trap and to develop a developmental policy that is in line with the status of the high income nation eventually. And over the years, Malaysia has made significant strides in nation building and developing its economy and improving the quality of life of its people. And since independence, our gross domestic product has grown by an average of 6.5% per annum. And also in terms of the economic growth, recently in 2023, we experienced a growth of 3.7%. In terms of the FDI, the recent figure that was recorded was USD almost 40 billion. And Malaysia's economy is growing steadily this year, aided by a strong pickup in exports, tourist arrival, as well as the expansion in investment activities. And the course of Malaysia development, most importantly, is shaped by the vision, thinking, and efforts of many of the country's leaders and thinkers as enshrined in the Constitution. And also we have a long plan. And also we have every 5 years, we have the development, short-term development plan. The long-term development plan, for instance, we have the new economic policy. This was between 1971 to 1990. And from 1991 to 2000, we have the National Development Policy, followed by National Vision Policy 2001 to 2010, and and the new economic model from 2011 to 2020. And equally important is this framework captured the collective aspiration of Malaysia, and our aspiration was it was reflected by the launching of Vision 2020 in 1991. And now that we have passed 2020, now we have the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030. And the most important about this Shared Prosperity Vision 2020 it aims to develop a fair and equitable distribution of economic development at all levels, and by 2030. This reflects Malaysia's commitment to implement the United Nations Agenda for Sustainable Development, SDG 2030. And indeed, the SDG 2020, the principles of SDG 2030 had already been embedded in Malaysia's development policy, such as, like I mentioned just now, every 5 years, we have the short-term plan, and it was already embedded since the 11 Malaysia plan that was between 2016 to 2020. And this SDG 2030 will continue to be embedded into Malaysia's latest long-term plan of the PV, the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030. And under the leadership of my current Prime Minister, we also talk about Madani. Madani is basically, it concerns about sustainable, caring, respectful, innovative, as well as prosperous Malaysia. And we also have economic Madani framework to underscore the importance of reforming Malaysia's economy, not only to address systematic and historical challenges, but also focus on new areas of sustainable growth and resilience. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I move now to trade. And as mentioned by the DG just now, Malaysia is always an open trading economy who is participating in extremely competitive and fast-moving global marketplace. And information and communication technology, ICT, have changed the speed and spread of transactions, and labor and capital-intensive modes of development have given way to productivity and knowledge-based growth. And the opening of China and India, of course, has changed the economic landscape dramatically for developed and developing countries alike. And as an open economy, Malaysia has always subscribed to the approach of trade liberalization by continuing to seek for improved market access for our goods and services, and at the same time attract foreign direct investments to sustain the economic growth of Malaysia. And indeed, international trade is an important contributor to Malaysia's economic growth and development. And having said that, while Malaysia supports open global trading, it must also be fair, especially to the developing countries like Malaysia and also other like-minded nations. And in this regard, Malaysia will continue to participate and contribute actively in the ongoing World Trade Organization, the WTO negotiation. And this is to ensure that trade regulation and trade measures are fair and balanced to all members. And while Malaysia continues to accord high priority to the rule-based multilateral trading system under the WTO, Malaysia regards the regional and bilateral trading arrangement as complementary to the multilateral approach towards free trade liberalization. And we have concluded many bilateral free trade agreements. The first one we concluded with Japan in 2006. And after that, we concluded with 6 other nations, that is, who are Pakistan, New Zealand, India, Chile, Australia, and also Turkey. And in addition, we have also concluded and implemented 9 regional FTAs since 1993 that would include ASEAN Free Trade Area, AFTA, ASEAN China, ASEAN Korea, ASEAN Japan, ASEAN Australia New Zealand, ASEAN India, ASEAN Hong Kong, and two mega FTAs, namely the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP, in 2022. And for Malaysia, we believe that benefit from this FTA had been well documented. Collectively, in 2022, trade with countries covered by both the regional and bilateral FTAs accounted for more than 67% of Malaysia's total trade, which was valued at almost 2 trillion ringgit Malaysia. And export to FTA countries amounted to more than 1 trillion ringgit Malaysia, while imports are total at almost 850 billion ringgit Malaysia, which is marking a surplus of 222 billion ringgit Malaysia for us. And in terms of the foreign direct investment in Malaysia, the recent one was on global artificial intelligence. We have attracted companies like Google, Microsoft, and ByteDance, and the value of investment was 2 billion USD, 2.2 billion, and 2.1 billion USD, respectively. And overall, the Malaysian economy is diversified with the export value of these high-tech products in 2022. And it stood around USD 66 billion, which is the third largest in ASEAN. And we export the second largest volume and value of palm oil products globally after another ASEAN country. And we also enjoy a relatively affluent lifestyle compared to other countries. And in the Southeast Asia, and this was due to fast-growing export-oriented economy and also a relatively low national income tax, highly affordable local food, and also transportation fuel, as well as fully subsidized single-payer public healthcare system. And now, with all this background, I wish to now analyze the state of relation between Malaysia and Bangladesh. From the historical perspective, the diplomatic relation between Malaysia and Bangladesh go back a long way since relations were officially established on January 31st, 1972. And such, it has already been 52 years of the establishment of the diplomatic relation this year. And also, as stated earlier, Malaysia was the first Muslim nation in the world to recognize Bangladesh as an independent and sovereign nation. And while the rest at that time still, I think, quite hesitated to do so. And since then, Malaysia and Bangladesh have been enjoying warm and friendly relations in various areas, including trade, defense, education, and culture, tourism, and technical assistance. And also, while we're doing that, Malaysia maintains our close alliance with the rest of the Muslim world. And there have been many high-level visits between both countries since this establishment of the relations, including at the head of government level, that was in 2015. But the first highest level of visit by Malaysia was actually at the level of the head of state, which was my king, who visited Bangladesh in December 1974, which was actually to reciprocate earlier visit by Bangladesh. And this visit was subsequently followed by endless high-level visits, which have been paved the way for greater cooperation between our two countries in various sectors. The close relation between Malaysia and Bangladesh just not between the two governments, but also I have to emphasize that at the people-to-people level, the trade between both countries have also flourished over the years. And in January, the total trade between Malaysia and Bangladesh between January to April 2024 was already 1 billion USD. And this already an increase of almost 16% from the same period in 2023. Export to Bangladesh also increased by 25% from the following year. And there are, of course, the differences in terms of the trade values between export and import between Bangladesh and Malaysia. But the difference in trade values, in my view, it could be addressed when hopefully both countries eventually materialize the free trade agreement. As ready-made garments, plastic articles, machineries, petroleum, and also palm oil, these are the top trading goods between the two countries. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the context of the bilateral relations with Bangladesh, allow me to touch on two issues which both Malaysia and Bangladesh shared a common position. The first one is on Rohingya. And on this issue concerning the Rohingyas, let me assure you that Malaysia remains one of the strongest supporters of Bangladesh in voicing the Rohingya issue in various multilateral fora. And every year at UNGA without fail, Malaysia will participate, lead meetings, and issue official statements that concerns the plight of the Rohingya. Besides issuing statement and pressuring the international community, Malaysia had also rendered humanitarian assistance since the beginning of the Rohingya crisis. And we have sent humanitarian aid relief for Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh as early as 2017, which at that time it took place at least 4 times, which we delivered foodstuff, medicine, and also toiletries. And to further strengthen our assistance, the Malaysian cabinet in 2017 had agreed on the establishment of the field hospitals in Cox's Bazar, and this was known as the Malaysian Field Hospital, which was fully operational since November 2017. And this Malaysian Field Hospital had gained recognition for its work, including from the World Health Organization, WHO, and several countries, including Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Brunei. Also, they made contribution actually to the this Malaysian Field Hospital, and we always are grateful for the support from other friendly nations. And this Malaysian Field Hospital continued its operation for more than 3 years before it was handed over to the government of Bangladesh in a ceremony on 15 March 2021, which I personally participated. And despite that, the fact remains that Malaysia was the first country as a trusted friend of Bangladesh without hesitation to set up the first field hospital ever in Cox's Bazar. And Malaysia will always be part of the history of the struggle of Rohingyas in Bangladesh. And this Malaysian field hospital already treated more than 108,000 patients with an average of almost 300 cases a day. And on a recent development, my Prime Minister reaffirmed Malaysia's commitment in calling for an end to the ongoing violence and also the political marginalization against all the peoples of Myanmar. and adherence to the 5-point consensus, which was jointly reached in Jakarta in April 2021. And this statement was met during the 37 Asia Pacific Roundtable on June 6, 2024. And my Prime Minister also emphasized that Malaysia will work with other ASEAN member states and dialogue partners who have influence on Myanmar to push for peace, more effective humanitarian mechanism, and the eventual political engagement of all relevant stakeholders in Myanmar. And second major issue is on Palestine. This issue of Palestine is a significant topic in Malaysian foreign policy and public discourse, and I believe so does Bangladesh. Malaysia has traditionally been a strong supporter of the Palestinian cause, advocating for Palestinian statehood and condemning Israel action in the occupied territories. The Malaysian government frequently voiced out support for international resolution that call for an end to the Israeli occupation and the establishment of an independent Palestinian state based on the pre-1967 borders. Public sentiment in Malaysia also largely reflects this stance, with widespread support for Palestinian rights and criticism of Israeli policies. This position is rooted in Malaysia's broader foreign policy principle and its commitment to justice and self-determination for oppressed peoples. And one of the most significant contribution during the war was humanitarian aids. The Malaysian people, the government, and also numerous NGO rapidly mobilized to send supplies to Gaza. These include food, medical aid, and also essential items for the displaced families. And through international aid coordination, Malaysia actually already opened up our hospitals to critically injured Palestinians, who require advanced medical care. And the Higher Education Ministry in Malaysia already provided free waivers for 2 semesters for Palestinian students after the Battle of Tafan al-Aqsa. And including even the Malaysian media, they made significant contribution by opening various media platforms to Palestinians and supporters of the Palestinian cause. And my Prime Minister also during various global forums, including at the United Nations, already advocated for more decisive international action to stop the violence in Gaza and provide justice for Palestinians. Now that we have covered enough, so is this all about the bilateral relations between Malaysia and Bangladesh? I wish to move into the other, which is the more critical topic to analyze today, which is about the prosperity. And on this, human resource continues to be an important areas of collaboration between Malaysia and Bangladesh, which is in a way is also prospering both nations. And I wish to put up on record my sincere appreciation to the contribution made by our Bangladeshi brothers to the Malaysian economy and prosperity of Malaysia. And likewise, it has also contributed to the prosperity of Bangladesh through remittance from Malaysia, of which in August 2024 alone, it was amounted to 251.9 million USD, according to the data published by the Bangladesh Bank. But our bilateral relation is much broader than this very limited yet complicated aspect of human resource. And in this regard, I wish to emphasize about the presence of the subsidiaries of Malaysian government-linked companies, GLC, in Bangladesh, which becomingly more significant in their role in founding the vital elements of the bilateral relations between Malaysia and Bangladesh towards prosperity of both nations. May I therefore highlight the presence of these subsidiaries of Malaysian GLC in Bangladesh and validating to this topic that our bilateral relation now is moving towards prosperity. In fact, shared prosperity to be more precise, as advocated strongly by Malaysia as part of its development policies. And the total investment by my government through Robi Axiata and Edotco, both are the subsidiaries of Malaysian GLC of Axiata Group, has already surpassed USD 5 billion. And they have created at least 27,500 direct employment in Bangladesh and more than 4,20,000 indirect employment. And since they are both heavily taxed and subject to continuous and indefinite scrutinized by the relevant tax authorities here, in average, the yearly contribution to Bangladesh government to the respective agencies was more than 75 billion taka. Actually, this is on a yearly basis. And so this is the direct contribution by Malaysian government to the development of telecommunication sector in Bangladesh, hence the prosperity of Bangladesh. On this, may I make a point that in order for us to prosper together in more sustainable business environment, we look forward to some kind of reform in the taxation rules and hence creating more incentive and business-friendly environment to foreign investors in Bangladesh. With the volume of bilateral trade last year of USD 2.78 billion, I also sincerely hope that free trade agreement could eventually be materialized between Malaysia and Bangladesh so that these two brotherly nations could prosper together. May I also mention that Malaysia is now offering its second national car of Perodua to Bangladesh since its entry into Bangladesh market this year. And this recent move by Malaysia is also towards shared prosperity between Bangladesh and Malaysia. And we truly welcome the support from the government of Bangladesh as well as fellow Bangladeshi friends to this Malaysian branded vehicle with Japanese technology and the touch of Malaysian engineering. Still on the topic of this shared prosperity, we wish to welcome our Bangladeshi friends to experience medical tourism in Malaysia, which offers the best quality services yet at a very affordable cost, since it is illegal to overcharge a patient in Malaysia, as this will be against an act of parliament. By visiting Malaysia for medical checkup, for treatment, shared prosperity would also obviously take place towards enhancing relations even further, be it a bilateral or people-to-people contact. May I summing it up that I have started by introducing the foreign policy of Malaysia, followed by development and trade policies of Malaysia, so that you would have some idea on where we are coming from. And following which, I touch upon the general aspect of the bilateral relations between Malaysia and Bangladesh before zooming in into certain issues, including Rohingyas and Palestine. And finally, I have validated the fact that indeed our bilateral relations are moving towards prosperity. Thank you again to BIISS. And since I'm about to winding down my curtain in Dhaka soon, may I also take this opportunity to thank all of you, dearest friends in Bangladesh, for all your support and friendship throughout my 4-year tenure here. Long live Malaysia-Bangladesh relations. On that, thank you. Terima kasih and Donabat.
Thank you, Excellency. Please. It was a very comprehensive deliberation on your part, in which you have addressed all the issues relevant to the topic you have discussed. You have given a full overview of Malaysia's economy, Malaysia's progress, and Malaysia's standing in the world. And also you have highlighted the main areas of Bangladesh-Malaysia cooperation, in which you have mentioned certain areas where we are focusing, but we have, in fact, many more areas to explore, and in which we can intensify our cooperation. And also, you have given some of your views on how we can enhance our shared prosperity. Indeed, it's a great relations with amazing scope of cooperation, and with your deliberation, we are now going to open the floor for open discussion. And in that, I understand we have some of our very distinguished diplomats and also participants, scholars, who are present here, who will be making their contribution, comments, and questions. I'd request them to please be precise and brief as possible. And also we have some of our ambassadors, high commissioners who served in Kuala Lumpur, and we'll also expect their comments. And before I open the floor, I make my question first. I take this opportunity. You have mentioned that you have bilateral FTA with a number of countries, with two South Asian ones, India and Pakistan. So I'd request your view on how this FTA with these our neighboring countries are working, because we also need to go faster on this mode. And also, second point is question how we can develop the mechanisms of minilaterals. You have mentioned Malaysia, Thailand, and another country. You have a minilateral. We have one in the BBIN format here in South Asia. But what we can have, including Bangladesh and Malaysia, a minilateral format. So with that, I'm opening the floor and inviting the questions. Maybe after each three interventions, we can expect your view. And also, since we have the distinguished presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Riaz Hamidullah, he is also a great expert of multilateral economic affairs, and also experience as ambassador to two countries, one in this region itself, in South Asia region. So his views would also be very welcome, appreciated. So now the floor is open, and we have the first intervention from our former Foreign Secretary, Ambassador Shamsher Mobin Chaudhuri, Bir Bikram. We request you, sir, to make your intervention.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks indeed to Hansa, good friend since her arrival here. And this probably is your swan song as you wind up to go back to Kuala Lumpur. My first question, partly, Mr. Chairman, you yourself has asked on the trade issues, which I think is very relevant. And I would also may like to seek the opinion of the additional Foreign Secretary, one of our brightest officers, undoubtedly. The DG in his remarks talked of supply chain instability. This, I think, is something very critical. Why do we have a supply chain instability? The trade imbalance is understandable, but I'd like to see the opinion both of the High Commissioner and the Additional Foreign Secretary. Is it FTA that we should be looking forward to Malaysia, or is CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, that we are supposed to be starting with India also? Because somehow I get the feeling that Bangladesh is shy of moving into FTAs. I mean, it may be lack of experience, lack of knowledge. We don't have enough FTAs. Vietnam has 16 already. Why won't we? My second question, Mr. Chairman, is to the High Commissioner. I am an Intan alumni, one of the finest human resource development institution in the region and perhaps in the world. And is Malaysia willing to extend greater scholarships to our civil servants, public administration officials into Intan? And I have gained enormously from Intan. So in addition to the Bangladeshis working there, that is one aspect of human resource. But the human resource development of the public administration in Intan, I think, could be of huge benefit to Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, indeed, for highlighting these very important points. More questions? Yes, the gentleman in the middle, please introduce yourself and make your intervention.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Shahadat, retired. My field of studies is, in fact, Bangladesh-China relations. And from that experience, while listening the great speech by Her Excellency, I was thinking few things. Definitely, my talking will not be like a career diplomat, but like just a simple Bangladeshi citizen. When I was young, between 1973 and 1979, it was mainly I was hearing the name of Malaysia because my brother, who studied in medical college, he had a lot of good friends in medical college. And then after 76, I started speaking about and knowing about China. And now I know very well how Bangladesh-China relationship developed. I have a very keen desire. The relationship, which was very deep, and when it was better before the independence of Bangladesh. China coming after 1976, the development between Bangladesh and China has gone aggressively. So from my keen desire of that, I want to humbly suggest few things. It's not that Bangladesh, oh, my dear Malaysia, please do something for Bangladesh. No. Oh, the basis of all my talking is it has to be win-win situation. It has to be also good for Malaysia. But is it possible to do something which is also visible by the common people of Bangladesh? The way we see China-Bangladesh Friendship Bridge, China-Bangladesh exhibition centers. So everyone knows that China is doing something great for Bangladesh. So what could be the things? Like in this hall room, many a times, many speakers spoke about the need of speedy train between Dhaka and our 8 divisions. I'm not going to elaborate to that. If there could be speedy train, then the pressure on Dhaka, people living in Dhaka would reduce. By 1 hour or 2 hours, people could come from abroad. So if there is a real need in Bangladesh, 8 speedy train, is it possible that Bangladesh and China just consider, no matter when and how, to make or contribute at least one exemplary speedy train between one of the district, one of the division and Dhaka? The second is it possible that we do something real good with the help of both the countries, something related to the tourism, where Malaysian people will come more in Bangladesh? We are going, everybody knows, because our facilities are not enough. That's why many Malaysian people are not coming. So actually, peoples to people contracts, inside Bangladesh is less. The third is, in Bengali, we say, Ek Tukro Malaysia, Ek Tukro Bangladesh. Is it possible that we do a Malaysian-Bangladesh complex in Dhaka and also in Malaysia? That means in one center, people will do everything. Malaysian people will come here, stay here, and do things, and all business things, no matter what is the size. That means establishing a Bangladesh-Malaysia complex, which will facilitate many things. One in Dhaka and one in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed, Mr. Salahuddin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and honorable guests, diplomats and others. This is Salahuddin Ahmed. I was a member of Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission. I was a television broadcaster, faculty banker, and I now run a storytelling program called It's Nice to Be Nice, Honing Your Soft Skills. Nice to be in a free country now. We gained freedom on July 36th, and the fragrance of freedom everywhere. No intimidation, no worship, no flattery. It was, and of course, no calling a hooligan a hermit. No more. Of course, it was very interesting to know and encouraging that Malaysia was the first Muslim nation to recognize Bangladesh. And in fact, a country, a people, a group of people can dream only they're free. So Malaysia dreamt a lot of dreams and they made progress. And now as a friend of Malaysia, Bangladesh people, and of course, the government will be dreaming and following Malaysia and of course, progressing alike, if not alike, mostly. I heard of Rohingyas. I was happy to know more that the way they are with us in addressing the Rohingya issues. In fact, we thought someone dreamt that with the Rohingyas, millions of Rohingyas, a Nobel Prize, the second Nobel Prize to Bangladesh is going to be ours. In fact, we were disappointed. Unfortunate of us, and most unfortunate, as we see, was the person who won the first Nobel Prize in Bangladesh. Anyway, we are really happy that you are helping us in addressing the Rohingya issues. Of course, there will be initiatives that will help us, in fact, sending them back and addressing the issues more wisely. Mr. Colonel Shahadat mentioned about fair deal of bilateral trade. In fact, the honorable honorable speaker mentioned about the fair deal. And we also believe that there will be no hegemony, no big brotherly or grandfatherly relations between the two countries in this case, of course. And there is no relation of intimidation in the business or in a relation of the two countries. And most happy have I been to know about the prospect and attraction of medical tourism there. Being a 64-year-old, I am more happy than many one here. And I believe that, in fact, the concerned people will take initiative in making this fruitful, the medical tourism prospect in Malaysia for Bangladeshi people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So after this first round of comments and questions, we are going to hear from the guest of honor, guest speaker, and the additional foreign secretary. So please.
I think.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for all the interventions, comments, and questions. The first one, which was raised by the chairman regarding the two FTAs that we have concluded with the neighboring countries here, India and Pakistan. So you are asking about how it impacted us, I think, in term, yeah. I would say it is very simple. The moment we concluded FTA with any countries, then we will have a dedicated officer at the mission of that particular, in the capital of that particular countries, a dedicated officer to oversee trade-related matters. Right now, this is lacking in Dhaka, but the moment if FTA materialize, we will enhance and beef up our mission here with a dedicated trade attaché. So, and with that role and being enhanced, it will definitely add up and also enhance the trade relations between our two countries. Right now, this trade is has been always and is always my top priority here, trade and investment relations. But I don't have any dedicated officer to do that. They are, but they are overseeing remotely from India actually. So, but like I said, the moment we have FTA, that will be in place, and that is will. This is a very important factor to enhance the relations. And secondly, in terms of the multilateral, Manilaterals. Oh, so you were asking about the
Small group, sector.
oh, that will address by honorable. Okay, and then the second question regarding the supply chain instability from Excellency Shamsir, and I still believe that FTA is the solutions, because when we have FTA, it also reflect the trust. You negotiated it, and of course, it is not just a simple agreement. And over the process of negotiating it, you will really find out the trust between the two nations. I was involved in the. We tried actually to at least explore at that time FTA between Malaysia and the US when I was there. And it was a very complicated process there, but somehow it didn't materialize because of the change of government there. But in the end, we have the CPTPP, even though the US withdrew eventually. But what the point that I wanted to highlight here was the fact that the process is not the result, that the process itself will make your relation even stronger. And because of the trust that being enhanced, it will eventually add up in terms of the strengthening of the relations. And then there was a question about the visibility of Malaysia in Bangladesh. I totally agree with you on this, that we need to be visible, even medical tourism, for instance. I think many Bangladeshi are not aware about that, that we are offering an options in addition to, of course, our friends from other Southeast Asian countries also offering this medical tourism, but Malaysia is there to offer an option. And with this halal factor is not an issue there, and the cost, and also in terms of the quality, like I mentioned, in terms of the costing, we don't compromise at all in terms of the quality, but it is affordable because we have an act of parliament which really put up a ceiling to the charge that they could charge on patient. And it was not that the doctors, it's not that they didn't try to amend this act. They tried so many times actually, but still failed. Because we came from the background of almost free public care in Malaysia. For Malaysian until now, actually, if we go, we just pay 1 ringgit. 1 ringgit, I don't know how many taka. 23 taka, yeah. And for civil servant is free. That where I come from in terms of the basic healthcare in Malaysia for the public healthcare. So that's why if the private, they are not allowed to go beyond certain ceiling. There is a ceiling being set up by the government and is closely monitored. It is really, we take this seriously, and it is illegal for them to charge more than that. But that is something that I think might take away from Bangladesh about our visibility. I will go back to Putrajaya. This is something that I think we could even enhance here more. And finally, about the Rohingyas that been touched on by Mr. Salohiddin. Yes, we are with you in Rohingyas. It's not that we stand by you, we also feel you. We hosted a significant numbers of Rohingyas in Malaysia. So we are in the same shoes like you. We hope that eventually a solution will be reached on this issue. And thank you also for your kind words on the prospect of the medical tourism in Malaysia. Thank you.
Ambassador Riaz Hamidullah, please.
To be very candid and straight, sir, if I may address directly your question. My little journey tells me that within Bangladesh, in Bangladesh, across our systems, we are still possibly struggling in terms of understanding what is an FTA. How should we approach an FTA? Bilateral FTA, Ambassador said about regional FTA. But also Ambassador Gausulism Shakar is referring to unilaterals. Essentially, you're referring to the sub-regional undertakings. In 1997, we had the first in terms of South Asia Growth Quadrangle. But FTA, foremost, let's understand, it's not a tariff exercise. It's not a tariff adjustment exercise. It's far more. It used to be 5-10 years back. Today, it's absolutely not. FTA, let's get it straight. It is not simply an economic undertaking. It is also a techno-political construct. Most of the decisions, if not many decisions, are taken on political considerations as well. At the core is trade-off. Within the industry, between industries. I give the example, if Brazil, for example, requests us to give tariff advantage for their beef, and instead in return ask for something from our export under 6-digit HS code, I think you can all close your eyes and can imagine what I'm trying to hint at. That is where the difficulty lies. I'll come back to those in detail when my turn comes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We now go for the second round of comments and questions. I start from the gentleman whom I left. I don't know whether he is Professor Dr. Abul Kalam Azad. Okay, let him come back. Professor Dr. Abul Kalam Azad, Ambassador Muhammad Shahidul Islam, our former High Commissioner to Malaysia, and Mohammad Anwar Shahid, Senior Vice President, Bangladesh-Malaysia Chamber of Commerce. So Professor Abul Kalam Azad, please. Waidul Islam, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am really very happy to see our beloved, brilliant and capable ambassador, Riaz Hamidullah, as a special guest. And Excellency, the High Commissioner of Malaysia, thank you for your wonderful deliberation, which gives me an opportunity to revisit the bilateral relations between the two countries. While listening you, I experienced a moment of nostalgia through which I visited to your capital, Kuala Lumpur from Dhaka. In fact, it is very interesting how diplomacy can create ties between individuals and places. You have very rightly mentioned about Rohingya issues, and one of my friends here also mentioned about Rohingya issues. And it was one of the important issues during my tenure when I was in Kuala Lumpur. I had to, in fact, continuously run from top brass to every corner so that we can get an immediate and prompt response from your side, announcement. And you have very rightly mentioned that Malaysia was the first country from that region to condemn with strongest terms against Myanmar. And you have also mentioned that it was raised to the international and regional fora. I recall all these things. My simple, I should say it is not question, but I would like to learn from you, from your personal experience, as from Kuala Lumpur and of Dhaka. What's your observation and suggestion to resolve this problem? Number two, it is also very important that I personally believe that there might have very important potentials between Malaysia and Bangladesh to develop our cooperation in the field of agriculture. During my tenure, I also visited Kedah, the birthplace of Honorable Mahathir Mohamad. And so far, my memory recalls the Mahathir was the chief of that province. And we have had wonderful and very modern rice institutes there. During that period, we have had long discussions with regard to agricultural development, in the sense that we made a proposal saying that we have had abundant of land even in mainland and also in Sarawak. Our expertise might be utilized to get benefit out of these projects. And we discussed so many things about these things, but because of COVID and of my transfer to Dhaka, I could not follow these things. And number three, with regard to Bangladesh's keenness to be the observer to ASEAN. And so far, my understanding from Malaysia that the Malaysian government seemed to be affirmative. If you possible to give a little bit information about these things. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Professor Dr. Abul Kalam Azad, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the floor. Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and bonjour. Okay, I want to make a little digression, Your Excellency, from what has been discussed. which is more official, normal international relations. Discourse, value laden and all this. I want to make, as I told you, I want to make little digression. For example, you told that Malaysia stresses on human development, and in that respect, you made addition to our migrant workers who have contributed enormously to your development. But at the same time, I remain very skeptical, about the treatment of our migrant laborers in Malaysia, you see, which is a total violation of human rights, etc., and which has raised concern also in our civil society and other members of the concerned people, you see. And this is a continuous issue. In particular, if you remember, you see, during the COVID period, you see, our migrant workers were kept in a concentration camp, like the Hitler's Nazis concentration camp, in early 30s. So these things, so in that respect, I really want to know, Madam, the Excellency, the Ambassador, that is High Commissioner, sorry, that are you a signatory to the Convention on the Prevention of Discrimination against migrant workers and their families, you see, which was signed in 2003 or 2004? I think few countries ratified that treaty. Okay. That is one question, which is so. Malaysia-Bangladesh relation, I would say, between they remain between sweetness and souriness, very sweet relations. As a Muslim country and being members of the YC, Commonwealth, etc., we have sweet relations, but at the same time, there are some soury aspects also. Then we have, I do not want to go into the trade deficit, that is a complicated issue, and I don't understand well also. My question is about the migrant. And another thing is that, people-to-people contract, you mentioned, you see, and as someone mentioned in here, that it is not visible, invisible actually, okay? And I just today came to know that there is medical tourism in prospect for medical tourism in Malaysia. I didn't even know, first time I went to Bangkok for treatment because it is a little cheaper than going to Singapore, you see. Or I went to India, when I went to India last, in the beginning of the year. So I didn't know. What is the sign of Malaysia? Is no scholarship, nothing for the students, some sort of projects, souvenir project like Chinese bridge, etc. Okay, Chinese center, convention center, etc. Okay, Malaysia is a rich country. It's a developed country. It is the 5th richest country in Asia and probably 25th richest country in the world. You see, but you see, the problem is that Malaysia, don't mind, Malaysia, if I tell, they do not look at Bangladesh on equal parity, They little bit discriminate the Bangladeshis. You think you are the Bhumiputras and all these things, we have relations, we like to have relations with America, China, New Zealand, Australia, all the big partners. But you don't give less importance to Bangladesh, little heat to Bangladesh, This is the problem. That's why we are not having people. And about the visa, oh my God, getting Malaysian visa is just like getting visa to what? America. America is still very easier, but going to Malaysia. So how do you, expect the business community to flourish? They have real difficulty in getting visa, You need this, you need that, bank certificate, this insurance certificate. It's very complicated. So all these things should be clear, sorry, these are the issues, but I'm particularly very interested. I want to know your opinion, Your Excellency, Dr. Excellence, that is about the migrant workers, our workers. They have been tortured in the jail. Their boats have been drowned in the.
We have got the point,
Okay,
sir.
so
Yeah, we have got the point.
I'll have to get your positive answer to my question. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And,
Last question of the round is from Mohammad Anwar Shahid, Senior Vice President, BMCC. Please be brief, very
Yeah,
brief.
I'll be very brief. Excellency, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. It is very informative. We have learned a lot from it. My question, we are talking about the free trade agreement. Bangladesh did not need to have any trade agreement because we are enjoying, as a least developed country, a lot of facilities. Now that we are graduating, we are planning to have it, and we are working on it. The government of Bangladesh is working on it. After 2026, we will need it. My question is, to improve the trade balance, you have a office in India, Chennai. My feeling is that if you could have a trade office in Bangladesh, as you were telling that we need to have a free trade agreement or EPA to have a trade office. There are a lot of embassies who are having the trade office, but we don't have any trade agreement with them. So my suggestion and my query is, can we have a trade office before we have the trade FTA? Number one, this is one question. And the second question, you met, this was asked by our High Commissioner, Excellency Shahidul Islam also. When you met our chief advisor, we are talking of getting more involved with the ASEAN, and Malaysia being one of the very active member. What role Malaysia can play in this regard of Bangladesh getting more involved with the ASEAN? And I don't know where ultimately we can get as a member, but as an observer, in what role you can play. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you again for all the questions, intervention and comment. The first one from a friend. It's like a long lost friend. I remember, Excellency, you met me in Kuala Lumpur prior to my departure here, which time flies already 4 years now. So the first regarding the Rohingyas, in terms of the solution, we both know that it is very challenging, and it requires because ASEAN work on consensus. So but this is something that ASEAN is very trying its best to tackle this. And of course, even my Prime Minister mentioned that we need the countries, the superpower countries, to also get involved on this. Yeah, countries of influence. Yeah, that's what he said. And on the agriculture, yes, collaboration on agriculture is great. I remember when I called on my chief minister of the state of Negeri Sembilan, the state when I came from, and he mentioned to me that he said that Bangladesh is great in terms of agriculture. I visited the mango farm in Rajshahi, I think, with it was a trip organized by our dear colleagues at the Foreign Ministry. And I'm very grateful for that experience. And we hope that this area in agriculture, we could collaborate even further in the future. And on this, I remember that I respect a different opinion on this. But I remember there was an article that I read over the newspaper many years ago. During winter, there was the farmer who were very happy. The Bangladeshi farmers very happy because they managed to export tomatoes to Malaysia. And the price was, I think, more than triple in terms of the price. And this, what I meant that FTA will smoothen up the process in terms of the connectivity of goods between the two countries, because it eliminates the trade barriers. Because as we know, as members of WTO, it's illegal for us to discriminate or impose discrimination or even preference. Both are not allowed. But FTA is the exception to these WTO rules, of which you could have certain preference to certain countries over a bilateral agreements. So based on this basic understanding, that I believe that when we have FTA, that we could smoothen up because of the elimination of trade barriers. And I could share with you that the information, the feedback that I got from the ground, on the ground, that many, for instance, the Malaysian furnitures, we want to export more so that you could enjoy Malaysian timber here in Bangladesh. But because of the tariff, it was so much in terms of the barrier. And right now, because Bangladesh is still, our Bangladeshi business community still enjoying this, the LDC status. When time that this already no longer in place in terms of the privileges, then you have to be more competitive and to compete with the rest of the world. So this is where Malaysia is opening up our doors for you, not only to Malaysia, but also to the whole ASEAN region through Malaysia. Because we are your trusted friend, like I mentioned, as proven from the one of your establishment and when you were hit by the Rohingya crisis. So we sincerely opening up our hands to our Bangladeshi friends on that. And after all, we already concluded with two of your neighboring countries, the bilateral FTAs. And on ASEAN, which also I think will cover the question, the last question asked about ASEAN. Yes, what actually raised by Honorable Chief Advisor was he asked exactly in how Bangladesh could be placed anyway within the framework of ASEAN. So then I highlighted to him, yes, Bangladesh already made a proposal, a request to be a sectoral dialogue of ASEAN. And Malaysia, next year, we will assume the chairmanship. And Malaysia as a nation, we already have a national position on this, of which we are truly supportive of Bangladesh openly. But as you know, ASEAN work based on consensus. So in the ASEAN concept, all the 10 countries, we have equal status. So all are equally important, and nobody could rule out any others reservation. So in this case, having stated that, we hope, and Malaysia, as your friend, that we hope that that door will one day open up for you on this. And then there are comments. This the second one by Professor Abdul Kalam. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, seriously, for all the comments. But let me respond to you on a few things. You mentioned about the treatment of workers in Malaysia. You have to be fair also to us. When you mentioned about COVID-19, Malaysia imposed a very strict quarantine and also measures to counter COVID-19, just like some of other countries as well. So in doing so, in order to at that time to address this, it was very unknown disease at that time. We imposed a lockdown. So even a normal Malaysian, even I myself was locked down at my home. So this was the measure that we took because we were of the view that saving the life is more important than any other things in the world. And at that time, without the availability of vaccines and so on. So and when I came to Bangladesh with my late elderly mother who passed away in Dhaka, Also during the peak of COVID-19, without any vaccine whatsoever, I even had to get the approval. I went to the police station with my posting order, with the credential from the king, with the flight tickets. I presented this to the head of the police there, the station. Then only they gave me permission to cross border the district in order to reach the airport, the Kuala Lumpur International Airport. So that was the situation then. Of course, by now it was history. And in terms of the treatment of the workers, like I said, we sincerely value the contribution by our Bangladeshi brothers in Malaysia. We tried very best as your friend to who is hosting our Bangladeshi brothers. We tried very best to impose, not only to set up, impose, but also enforce all the laws and regulations on this. And we are doing so in the way that best possible manner. Let me share with you publicly, during COVID-19 actually, because what you heard from the media is normally only all the bad stories. Let me share with you. Actually, there are a number of Malaysian big companies because we are a trading nation. We are trading with the rest of the world, including the United States. It really matters to us about this addressing the human trafficking issue. This is very important for us. So because of this, we really take care, and all the Malaysian companies actually, we really take a very cautious about this. And some of them, actually, for your information, they sent a chartered flight to Bangladesh. During COVID-19, you may heard that people who got trapped here in Bangladesh, they came here for holiday and somehow got trapped here because of the COVID-19, right? What you didn't hear, there were companies who sent up a chartered flight, and both government, we work out closely, and we brought them to Malaysia for free. And even now, as I speak, also, there are many responsible Malaysian companies who are doing this, who, because by virtue of the MOU, actually all the costs should be borne by the future employer. So there are companies, I sincerely share this with you, there are companies who are doing this, bearing all the costs. They paid a certain amount, for instance, to BOSA, for instance, as the government agencies doing this, for instance, that is an example. And then they brought them to Malaysia, which almost zero cost as far as the Malaysian government is concerned. I'm not talking about whatever cost they incur here, which is beyond us, but whatever as far as we are concerned. As far as the migration cost is concerned, we have tried our best to be a very responsible member of international society here. We are members of the international here. So this is the one that I wish to mention. But of course, there are loopholes everywhere. And Malaysia and Bangladesh government, we work closely on this matter. We are and we will try very best to address whatever loopholes. Yeah. And I believe the Honorable Chief Advisor also and talk about, I think I read from the newspaper also mentioned about this issue that Bangladesh is the priority to address on this issue. Like this is also the priority to Malaysian government. So we have a common stand on this to address. In the end, the most important is the well-being of the people, both the Malaysian businessmen, the employees, as well as, of course, our Bangladeshi brothers. So we want to be fair to both. Yeah. And finally, on visa, you mentioned about the visa. Yes, obviously, because we are trying very hard in order to address the fraudulent visa application, in order to address the human trafficking. Because of this, we are trying very best and scrutinizing every application. And in doing so, we are sorry if some of the genuine one become the unintended a victim of it. But this is our sincere hope that by doing this, we are trying very best in order to eliminate these issues of trafficking in person. But this is our commitment. If you submit to us a genuine application and a complete supporting document, rest assured, it will be approved within 48 hours. Yeah. Or when there was sometime because some problem with the because everything is online. And by the way, I have to mention to you, you don't need to go to the agent actually for our visa. You can do it yourself at your own bed or your own sofa. You can do it yourself. You just key in whatever data, your application, and what you need is your credit card. That's all. You don't need to go to a third person to do it. But if you choose to go through a third party, then of course they may ask for some fee from you, yeah, additional fee. But actually, this is the situation. And then like I said, if you are genuine, it will be approved easily. But sometimes when there are times that many application, it will take maybe at most maybe 1 week or sometime or 2 weeks. But this is very rare. But if for medical, for instance, we definitely give priority. We are trying our best to give and also to adhere to the integrity in giving our services to our Bangladeshi friends. So I hope you could understand from our stand of view as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Three more questions and we will finish with this part. Please be extremely brief, 1 minute each. Mr. Shabbir Ahmed Khan first, then Mr. Brigadier Shams, and finally Shahriar Jaman. Please.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Practically, I'm the president of Bangladesh-Malaysia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's a proud privilege for me to be present here. FTA was a very good, interesting point for me to raise, but there are a lot of discussion happened today already. So I'm not going into that subject, but rather I'm just within 1 minute, I'd like to inform the audience, the elite audience, that probably you know that semiconductor and microchips industry is becoming 1.3 billion by 2030. And recently I was in a mission to Malaysia and interacted with so many experts together with a delegation from Bangladesh. We found that Malaysia is targeting to get 18 to 20% of this global market share of 1.3 trillion. And the Malaysian Prime Minister declared that he will support the industry by providing 300 to 400 billion dollars to grow the industry. Intel recently invested more than 70 billion in Malaysia only. Interestingly, what Malaysia is now need to grow like this, skilled engineers, which is really missing. And we have been discussing also this point, and I think we need government support to advocate to the Malaysia government or the institutions to help Bangladesh go for a skill development on this segment. Another information I like to share with you that there are 7, 8 industries are here in Bangladesh.
and they are very strong globally in terms of design and engineering of semiconductor and microchips, and they are exporting to US, and there is a huge potential for that. But what we are missing is packaging, whereas Malaysia is #1 in packaging. So we can really supplement each other very well. And this is what we discussed last time during our mission. So my request to Her Excellency, she is also our chief patron of chamber. She knows it very well. So Your Excellency, my request is that when you go back to Putrajaya, whether you will be helping us to get some opportunity to get our engineers coming out every year in Bangladesh to get some skill development on this segment particularly. Because Malaysia is already taking our all experts to their industry already. So all these like DBL, like Ulkasami, they're all suffering out of these technical people. Thank you. This is the only point that I wanted to raise.
Thank you. Brigadier Shams, please.
Thank you very much. I am Brigadier General Shams. I work mainly on Rohingya issue and Myanmar. I'd like to convey my heartfelt thanks to Ambassador, Her Excellency, for nicely delivering her speech. She was here for last 4 years, and I think she developed a bondage between Bangladesh and Malaysia. And I believe that there's a prospect to take this level higher. And when Our Excellency goes back to Kuala Lumpur or Malaysia, I believe she will enhance it further in future, because a lot of prospect and prosperity are there to develop this relationship. Regarding this Rohingya crisis, Rohingyas has become a protected one. And for that reason, and at the same time, the aid is also going down. So capacity building for the Rohingya youths, I think, is necessary for future. And how best Malaysia can help in capacity building of this Rohingya population. And at the same time, the population density in Teknaf and Cox's area actually creating much problem. And a lot of, what should I say, law enforcing problem is there. So if this density can be reduced by shifting these Rohingyas to our Bhasanchal, some infrastructures need to be developed there. And at the same time, transportation cost is expensive. So can Malaysia help in this sort of solving this problem? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brigadier General. Mr. Shahriar Zaman, the last speaker.
Thank you for the floor. I'm Shahriar Zaman Shawan from Dhaka University. I'm a student. My first question is, I know that we have a student exchange program with India. So is there any possibility that Malaysia can have a youth exchange program with Bangladesh so that our students, it may be 100 or more than it, can travel to Malaysia and have their cultural and educational exchanges, so that the bondage becomes more strong. My second point is about blue tourism. I know, as Her Excellency has mentioned, that Malaysia is located in a very strategic position, and we know all that Bangladesh is also having a Bay of Bengal in its south. So there is huge possibility, and Bangladesh has formed Blue Economy Cell in 2017. So is there any possibility that Bangladesh and Malaysia can together form a blue tourism cell or develop in this sector? And we have seen that Bangladesh Korea Technical School, Bangladesh Japan Technical School, and lots of visible infrastructural bondage of friendship. So is there any possibility that Bangladesh Malaysia Technical School, Technical College, or Bangladesh Malaysia Technical infrastructural development can happen with the help of Malaysian government? That was all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed. Actually, I was looking for our student community to be represented here and voice their suggestions and views. Okay, I see one lady, I mean only lady asking the question and making comment. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Naushin Tasnim Rishti. I'm from Bangladesh University of Professionals and currently a student of International Relations. So my question is, as a student, like how lenient Malaysian universities is going to be for providing us scholarships and also developing, as my professor Ajad mentioned, that in terms of developing the equality or equity of the relation of Bangladesh and Malaysia, what steps Malaysian government and is going to take in future for that? And also, as one of my fellow friend from Dhaka University also mentioned about the youth exchange program. So what steps Malaysian government is taking for the students of Bangladesh in terms of developing the bilateral relations and giving us the opportunity to study in Malaysia and Malaysian universities? Thank you.
Thank you, indeed. This is more about education and skilling and technical and vocational education. That suggestion has also come from the student community and human resources development. That is of vital importance for both of our countries. And actually, there is one framework mechanism that is already in place. It's called South and Southeast Asian Cooperation, SIACO, and initiated by Honorary Consul of Turkey, Mr. Salahuddin Kashim Khan, and we visited the countries, your country included, and discussed with your officials, and that is focusing on human resources development and institution-to-institution cooperation. That is indeed a good platform, and also the suggestion and proposal from the students are very timely, and that actually can be considered, and if something concrete can be brought into place. Already, I know about one university, a Malaysian university that has started operation, UCSI. Yeah. So with this, the question part is finished, and please make brief remarks, and then we'll go for the next segment. Just question, please. Just question.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm General Jibon Kanai, former DG of BIISS. I thought this question would come up. It didn't, so I pick up. Well, back in 1968, when I enrolled myself in Dhaka College, we had with us 3 students from Malaysia. That was the standard at the time. Well, my turn came in 1980 when I was a student of Maktab Turus Angkatan Tentera. In that capacity, I have visited most of the places in Malaysia, a beautiful country, nice people, hospitable, much like what we are in Bangladesh. I'm sure you'll agree to that. But one point is the different sort of difficulty in getting a citizenship in Malaysia. It's very, very difficult. So I find that in between, Malaysia has developed a program, MM2H, fantastically new ideas. But what I am concerned that a lot of people from Bangladesh are going there under that program, and most of their money is illegally transferred. So what is Malaysia doing about scrutinizing those applications and the desirable person's ambition? So this is my humble question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the first, thank you again, yeah, for all the questions and comments. The first one regarding the, by President of the MCCI regarding the proposal for the skilled engineers. I think, of course, I think this is, that it would require careful consideration by both government, in fact. But I have to give my preliminary views that for now, I think let us sort out the current issues concerning the normal workers. I think that is our priority to work on that first. And secondly, regarding the capacity building for the Rohingyas, that is something also that my government is carefully actually looking into this actually. And the third one is by the student. Thank you for your question. Regarding the student exchange program, we don't have any for now. But your proposal regarding the technical schools, that is something that we could look at it. And also the blue tourism, that is something that we may explore. But let me mention, just as you pose your question, I saw the right from the UCSI University here. So actually, thank you actually for, I'm glad to see so many familiar faces here. On this, as mentioned by the chairman just now, you always have, you are welcome. You always have an option to further your study in Malaysia, to do your postgraduate in Malaysia. You are more than welcome to do that. And even now in Banani, we also have already the branch of a Malaysian private university who is ranked 284, I think. 284, 6. Yeah. Okay, that is the world ranking of this university. So you also have an option. Instead of going to Malaysia, you also have an option to study here, to enjoy the Malaysian education right here in Dhaka, in Banani, in fact. And this was launched since March last year, I think. And it was the first ever foreign university who were granted an approval to open up a branch in Bangladesh, actually. And the last question from the lady regarding the scholarship. Yes, we do have actually. We have scholarship for those who really who deserve it, of course. For instance, in International Islamic University, but they have, of course, in terms of the scrutiny, they scrutinize everything. But if you qualify, then there are actually a number of Malaysian university offering it. And I have to mention that just now regarding the MTCP program, Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program. This is a short-term the program, sometimes even up to 1 year, that we are offering to our friends from various countries, including from Bangladesh. And I used to meet so many, apart from who already did your course in Intan. But under this program, actually, I met so many Bangladeshi friends who did their course in Malaysia, a short-term course, sometimes 3 months, even up to 1 year, in various fields. Even once I met with this firefighter, and they said he said that he was trained in Malaysia also. And he said in Malaysia it's called bomber, which is true. In Malaysia, we call the fireman bomber. So that's how we offer this. And this offer of MTCP, this is if to the public Malaysian entities, it is free actually, and totally borne by the Malaysian government. And normally we offer through MOPA, Bangladesh. Yeah. So this is the points that I wish to mention. But I wish to take this opportunity to welcome all of you and also your children to be sent to Malaysia to experience Malaysian education in Malaysia. I could show you is safe, but like I say from the halal factor, and also for female also, if you have a daughter, you're quite worried that to be sent to some other far countries. Malaysia is only less than 4 hours flight from Dhaka. You have direct flight. Connectivity is very high. We used to have 62 flights weekly between Dhaka and Kuala Lumpur. Now a bit reduced to 50 something, but still the highest connectivity actually between ASEAN country to Dhaka. And you don't have to worry about safety. I used to drive in Malaysia at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, this is so you can have a peace of mind for your daughter. Even more if it is a son, I think you don't have to worry at all. So thank you so much again for BISS for this opportunity, and thank you for the engagement from all of you. I truly appreciate it, and thank you so much for the support from OFA on this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you indeed, Excellency. Now we are at the closing segment of our program, and we are going to hear from our distinguished ambassador and expert on economic affairs, and also he has experience in diplomatic relations. So I'm requesting our colleague, Mr. Riaz Hamidullah, to make his remarks.
Ambassador Hashim, Ambassador Ghazal Shokar, Jalanis, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the clock, I'll be cryptic and slightly fast-paced, and hopefully I assume that you can catch up. I have noted what came up from this side as also that side, and I'll try to bring certain things which perhaps have not been touched upon. I think foremost is how do we define a relationship? We are here to talk about a relationship, but also a relationship not is of the past, not is of the present, but let's prospect into future. I also mindful of what you said about Ul Qasemi. What does define a relationship? Having been to South Asia and also to Europe, I think it's not simply mutual shared values, but also shared values plus mutual trust and respect, but something what we do not often look at, mutuality of interests. That's coming over to it. It's not mutual interest, it's mutuality of interests. No need to go into what has been our relationship so far from the past. 1972, we go to UN, we go to regional spaces. But I think there are two ways to define or look at a relationship. One is the accomplishments of the past. The other is to look at or prospect into future. I'll do the second part. And even in doing so, I think I would dare every one of you to look at, let's say, can we prospect into 10 years from now? So 10 years from now is, let's say, 2025 plus minus. Projections suggest Bangladesh would be within the 30 largest economies, fair enough. Malaysia by 2030 is to be as a high income, within parenthesis, developed economy. Question and issue should be, what are the complementarities? I was thinking that this would come up. It isn't. Complementarities are to be here. Here is a manufacturing, large, populous manufacturing economy. And as Ambassador said, because of the shared prosperity you are referring to, on the other side is we have a trading nation. I happen to be in a trading nation called Netherlands, 4 years. I think that's where from we can bring certain goalposts. So two things. We have to be mindful that in the process, there will be a lot of trade-offs. There's also certain synergies to be tapped. So all that we go by, let's think of that. In the process, we must not be static. Quite often, that is what we end up with. So the number of that 2035, Bangladesh to be 38th largest, let's not be static on that as well. There are a lot of assumptions which may go wrong as well. There are also geopolitics which may go the way we are looking at or not looking at. The world is of competitive cooperation. Let's accept it. So certain assumptions that we take may not today may not hold right even 3 to 5 years time. And having said that, let me also, that's why I'd say that quite often I tend to say that let us not define a relationship only in terms of the trade volume. Quite often I used to be asked, Ambassador, what is the trade volume? Let's say in case of Sri Lanka or in Netherlands. And I immediately brushed it off, saying that that is the wrongest thing to do. Why? Because let's say Bangladesh and Netherlands, $1.5 billion trade. But how would you define a country like Netherlands investing in India for not less than $68 billion? And something that the ambassador was also referring to Malaysia. And I find that Malaysia is now the third largest importing destination for Bangladesh, followed by India and China. It doesn't often come to us. So I'm bringing these elephants in the room so that we really understand. And that gives me the basis to also to take up certain other things, which I've not had the time to really look at. That we are coming off references to Bangladesh to get into ASEAN. But let's also not miss out Bangladesh also to get into RCEP, RCEP that we refer. Also in the Pacific. These are things, these are confluences that we might have to address. Time would not allow us. But I'll try to quickly work with you because of certain, and have with certain modest conviction as to what that how do we look or move forward. In moving forward, references to FTA. And that's why, sir, I purposefully deferred it for now. That straight away, without any explanation, I don't think that it's time that we go for the conventional FTAs. The days of conventional FTAs are gone. Simply put, today in an FTA, you cannot look at simply, it's not a tariff exercise. You cannot look at merchandise goods. No country does and no country afford to. In South Asia, even a country like Sri Lanka, they're going for multiple SEPAs, for instance, if not other EPs. So we have to go as well. Why? Look at the composition of Bangladesh GDP. Look at the composition of our exports. We ourselves, at a lower level maybe, going into service economy. Malaysia is purely service economy. That's what it is, a distribution hub. So how do we put, where are the marriages in multiple that can make happen? So let's decompose the pattern of trade, going straight by the HS code. And I'll challenge us, in fact, that without looking at the export profile, can't we look at the import profiles? Let's say import profile of Bangladesh, of Malaysia, and then how do we do the trade substitution? That is what the way to go. That would eventually take us to investments. I'm slightly challenged that no one has talking about. Ambassador in passing said that there are 5 billion investments which are already in Bangladesh. The Ghazipur hospital and the nursing hospital which is there. Ambassador, I know that you raised this question about that. The CEO is a Malaysian. And where is the money coming from? The money is from the private equity. Money is from pension fund. Money is from the sovereign fund. Those are the things that we need to do. Those are that we need to tickle, not the conventional way. So I would also urge you, everyone, let us think of collaboration, not cooperation. The days of cooperation are gone. And I also urge every one of you here that if you're thinking, and I'm saying with certain conviction, and the media being present here, if you're thinking that 29 is not yet there, I think we're wrong place. Because FTA negotiation is a long haul. And FTA negotiation was supposed to start yesterday, if not yesteryears. So what should be the path forward? And since there's a Malaysian Chamber representatives present, the bilateral chamber representative present here, I think there are a couple of things in terms of taking, because I think it's fair for you to think that what is the takeaways? I come here for 3 hours, what do I go back with? I think first is the necessity for an independent assessment of what are the nature of two economies prospecting into future, not simply the trade profile. Please get me right. I'm not saying the trade profile. I would urge you, look at the economies, because any FTA is a marriage of two economies, of the present, of the future. What do I mean by that? Let us not look at today's industry or sectors. Let us try to think that which are these sectors on emergence, not simply future economies, emergence. Because a lot of trade diversions are likely to happen. Ambassador was saying about the nine regional FTAs. Those are what we need to look at, decompose and understand what's really going to happen. Tomorrow's FTAs are going to ask for environmental standards, government procurement, IP, intellectual property rights. Do we really understand? That's why over and over again I'm saying it's not the tariff exercise that we have to go for. So independent assessment, let's put it to 1.5 or 2.0 track. Let's have it done by the universities, for example. And then to see that which are the prospective or emerging industries. And that should equally, on a parallel track, ask us to look at correspondingly to this policy space, regulatory space. What are the things that would require changes, adjustment, not changes, but adjustment. That would also relate to supply chain inconsistencies, lags. Quite often it gets fancy for us to say that, can't we have a Chittagong Port Kalang connectivity? No, it's as the Americans would say, it is absolutely a function of economics. For example, there were attempts being made to connect Chittagong Port with some ports in Europe, failed, absolutely failed. We know, again, time would not allow, but I'm going to urge that let's understand that. I would leave in very brief couple of sectors for you to think about as you leave this room. Mobility, absolutely, please understand, beyond labor migration. There have been enough hints from the ambassador and also some of the questions. Finance, I already explained. How do we create an ambience where the finance flows? 5 billion already poured in. Can we talk to them what they really looked at? What are they doing? And then it can easily go up to million. When I said about the $68 billion investment from Netherlands to India, many asked me that where, which sectors, which factories they are setting up. I said zero. The Europeans or many today's world, even in Southeast Asia, they're not interested in bricks and mortars or factories. They're interested in fast-moving capital. So we need to understand the behavior, pattern, trends which are coming up, and then to engage in conversation. And that's what I absolutely straightforward asked the chamber as well on that. Health, it's much beyond medical tourism, much beyond. I've not elaborated. Education, why only a higher education? Why not, in fact, also tapping or exciting some of the schools to come this side? Why not to, for example, some of the, like the Australians at the Tibet, for their technical ones to come this side? Because that is the essential to marry and address some of the ills, long drawn ills in the mobility sector. I would not use the migration as such. Knowledge industries, references are made about semiconductor. Let me tell you, Malaysia already commands 13.5% of global back-end semiconductor market. And I had a long conversation with Ulkasemi, also their collaborators, because the global semiconductor industry, much to a surprise, you may get shocked, if not, are actually anchored in Netherlands because of ASML. Now, where from it's coming, the possibility is there where Malaysia goes for the final packet. We can come with our design packet with chip design back end. But that is a very straight statement I'm making. It's much deeper where there are a lot of gaps. If you are saying that why Malaysia is luring away our talents, that's global talent mobility. We cannot complain about it. What it's happening in LinkedIn. You can call it poaching, but that's the reality. So I think, but no, we are also not realizing that if the industry, if such a tech concentration is happening in Malaysia, AI and data science driven, can we at least get the back end? But that would require a much difficult conversation for which I'm afraid our own industry is not placed still. But also something that I'll put my money in right away is agri-tech, agro-food, what we generally call food processing. But something I am surprised that no one has referred to, energy. Energy is not simply in terms of Petronas, not simply in terms of energy efficiency, but in terms of, let's say, hydrogen economy. Some countries have already begun the conversation. India, for instance, is moving fast-paced. Many other countries. Do we realize that we are essentially going to be net energy import-driven country in a short while? And there, how do we get the new energy economics turning around to our favor and then drive? Essentially, if we don't have the competitiveness, agility, or even on the manufacturing side, I think eventually not simply addressing the energy needs, but also on our balance sheet will be struggling. I'll end with the other one, which I can tell you with certain conviction is automotive and automobile industry. Automobile industry, we have seen certain things, but I know for sure that in the automotive industry, there are some who are already keen. With that, I'm afraid time would not allow me, but I thought that I just need to drop or flag these couple of not the bullets is the wrong thing, but these blocks or elements which should excite your mind. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, Ambassador Riaz. excellent and very cryptic, but very telling points that you have analyzed in brief. Now let me take the podium to make my final remarks. Distinguished audience, we have come to the end of a very exciting seminar. The number of questions actually explain how exciting it was and how it has raised the interest among the participants. Indeed, we have come to know where the strengths of bilateral relations between Bangladesh and Myanmar are and where the prospects are. There are a number of suggestions that have come from the speakers, the distinguished guest of honor and the special guest. And also from the participants, we have got very valuable suggestions and ideas where we can look for the future and where we can intensify our bilateral cooperation. The two countries are already in deep cooperation in international fora, in different regional and international organizations. And bilaterally, already you have heard that trade level is not very small. It is more than $2 billion. That is $4 billion. That is not a small thing. It's a very good level. Maybe there is a balance which is not in Bangladesh's favor, but if you take the component of our migration workers, I think it somehow comes to a kind of balance, and that can be looked into that. So the prospect is huge, and there are very, very possible and feasible and very interesting sectors which have not been given attention to, but can receive our focus. We have, technology, the whole range of technology and everything based on science, technology, and innovation. And there, our future generation, our students, and our national renewals. We call them national renewals because they ensure continuity and also the exploitation of future opportunities. So they can think of. And then some broader sectors which have not got focus in this discussion. That is a huge area of our Bay of Bengal and the collaboration that we can develop in this area. We are, Bangladesh and Malaysia, both are in this Bay of Bengal region, and this region has an organization as well, BIMSTEC we call it, and there we need definitely as part of this region, Malaysia and Indonesia. So we can cooperate. Of course, we can bilaterally do that. And importantly, the two countries have now a lot of opportunities of learning from each other. Malaysia has successfully crossed the bar of middle income trap. And that is very important to know for Bangladesh, because since we are talking about graduation, we are going to soon face that kind of trap, and we have to learn from Malaysia. And then where Malaysia in another broad sector can work together, that is R&D. That is very important. And since we are both the economies are veering towards service economy, so that has to come into focus. So definitely there are a lot of other areas. Tourism is very important because that doesn't need kind of that is not. I mean, that is that has entire field to gain from, And we have connectivity, we can develop connectivity for that, and that is very important. That gives us quicker benefits in terms of economic well-being. Definitely, we have opportunities of working within the regional cooperation, and I mentioned minilaterals at the end. We can think of sector-based minilaterals to focus our specific energy in that sector, and we can do that to our mutual benefits. In fact, I'm not we are already late. We are not going to prolong this discussion. Definitely, we are now in the time to act rather than discuss. So this institution, BIISS, can be of support if you think of further discussion and consultations, even specific sector-based discussion of experts. We are ready to do that. We have good researchers in this institute, and we can provide that kind of support. We also expect initiatives from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. If they have any suggestion and idea, we can definitely contribute, and we can be of support. Thank you very much, and let me thank Her Excellency for taking her time and coming to here to give a very great deliberation. And this is just conversation that we have started. We can do many more. And particularly, we thank Ambassador Riaz Hamidullah. He is very pragmatic and very focused, and he speaks on extremely relevant things which we can pursue. And thank you all the learned and distinguished participants. Thank you for your suggestion and contribution. And I particularly thank my colleagues in the BIISS from the Director General to even the members of staff who have organized it in such a nice way. Thank you all. Thank you very much. We are coming to the end of this program.
Thank you, sir. I request the distinguished guests to remain seated for 1 more minute. Now, I request the Director General of BISS to hand over a memento to the guest speaker, Her Excellency, Malaysian High Commissioner to Bangladesh.